You already got the YouTube set.
Look up there. Got the chat thing. I got the picture. We're locked, cocked, and ready to rock, brother.
Yes, I am your brother.
I was out here for 7 hours. See, look. Oh, never mind. That was cool for a second. Then we actually kicked in there.
Yeah, you'll have that.
Damn it. There's no good place to put my pop.
I put mine off screen.
Well, I know. So I want to drink it. Anyways, so let's talk about this. The testing of the of this haul from Sunday.
Hey, Pixels.
Here's how it. Hey, Pix. Here's how it rolls down. That's working. So the Amiga 1000 works, and I think its peripherals work with a but. And the but is, I don't have a Kickstart disc anymore. Well, I got rid of all my discs.
Why don't you just go download one?
And well, I had another problem is I've replaced the majority of my disk drives with the Codecs. So I basically I can make myself one. I'm going to, but in the interest of expedience, I didn't get to make one yesterday.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would having a USB floppy drive help you?
No.
Okay.
No, because you can't make it on the. You can't.
I didn't think you could format it correctly.
You can't do one on the. You can't have the PC right one.
Yeah.
It takes an Amiga, brother. But the hard drive fires up. All the stuff hooked up and it appeared to work. All right, as best I can tell with no Kickstart disc.
This is the 1000.
And I got a. Turns out, get this: the keyboard connector I needed was a freaking handset from a phone. You know, it goes from the phone to. That's all it takes. It takes just one of those.
Oh, just not with an offset.
It doesn't need any sort of. It's just a plain Jane. Yeah, as far as I can tell.
Okay, so the one in the thing worked.
No, it didn't work. That was a phone cord. So I went out and bought a $5 one at the Walmart there.
$5.
$5. Hey, only the best. So there's that. The 500 we got does not work.
Wah.
I had a 500 in there that I had sort of cut a little chunk out of for the GoTech that was in it.
Right.
So I swapped tops on that one and got everything. So anyway, I've got one awesome 500 now. The peripherals for that, the A500 data flyer, it works, and the hard drive in it works occasionally. It's a SATA hard drive, but
You think it's the hard drive itself bad?
Yeah, the hard drive's old, but it's got 8 meg of memory on it, so it's completely jacked. So that the 500 setup has a 512 chip memory and an 8 meg of fast memory. That's good.
Yeah, it is.
So now stupidly when I looked at this, I thought it had a IDE interface. I was like, oh boy, this will be great. So I ordered. I went and paid $5. I got me an IDE to compact flash card. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is sad. Son of a gun. So.
Well, they look so similar, except for the part that they don't.
I'm selling this thing. I'm selling the 500 anyway. Eventually,
right.
I don't need it. And then the other 500 that's broke.
Right.
Internally, it looks okay. I swapped the Kickstart. Remember how were you here? And I looked at the Kickstarter. I think that had a jumper that was broken in half. Well, I did some research. It turns out that ships with a jumper across it. If you have an older version of a 500, you need the jumper. And for the newer version, you cut it. So that was nothing. That was didn't mean anything. So that worked. And like I said, the peripheral for that worked. All those the tank mice we had, they're all garbage. Now, only one sort of worked, and it's because the buttons on it were crap. Some of the buttons were great, but the mouse they only went up and down. They're probably repairable, but they're no great shakes. Both the monitors worked right out of the box.
Hey.
And the 1080, the older one, is a beautiful little monitor and does a real good job. And the 1084S or whatever, it worked fine. Both monitors worked. I was surprised by that. You know how those monitors are.
Hey, free lunch.
The C64 powers up, but I didn't have anything to hook it to anything out here. So that's to be determined.
Right.
So get this. That weird
Port in the back.
That was basically like you could put a fuse in that. And
oh, in the back of the hard drive, yeah.
No, in the back
in
of
the
the
C64?
C64, and it was just kind of haphazardly connected, and the connection it came off. So I just took the wires off of that. It was hooked to a port, yeah. But I mean, that was weird. So I don't know. Now I cleaned up the floppy drives. I haven't tested the floppy drives yet. I cleaned them up. I know the Commodore drives. One of them had money in it. I think I got all the money out. But someone had stuck some money up in that one.
How much?
It's like pennies.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
some kid must
confusing.
Yeah, probably.
Well,
a kid,
coin slot.
The floppy drive for the Amiga, I didn't test that yet. That stuff's not that difficult to test, I don't think. So the big crazy Commodore hard drive, it's underneath those floppies. I cleaned it up, and
I can feel its gravitational pull.
Yeah, I cleaned it up, and I was like, I'm going to take some pictures of this, and people are going to want to see what it looks like inside. So I took the top off.
Yeah, I saw your pics.
And it's quite a...
It's ramtastic in there.
Well, what it is it's dense with stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. But it cleaned up, like at the outside there's some spots of like I don't know, tarnish and rust and stuff like that. But I mean, internally, with the exception of the top of this can, everything looked real good. It was not pretty clean.
Yeah.
So I cleaned that up. So that's going to go in the market toot sweet. I just don't know if there's much I can do, with it. That I can't hook it up. I'm not even going to power it on. I'm not going to do anything because I'm not. This is going to require someone that knows what they're doing.
And you don't want to pre-jack it up.
That's right. I don't want to mess up something that could be valuable, given time.
You should have a condition with the guy, whoever you sell it to, though. Like, if there's news channel stuff on there, you would like to have it.
Yeah, at free lunch, we'll talk. The mice, they're not beyond hope or anything. Maybe we can work something out. Yeah, money in the hard drive, but trust me, it wasn't the big money. The big money's going to be in the other hard drive, you know what I mean? So, all that took me quite a while.
I would imagine.
Last night to I started about 4:30 and worked.
Is that a large bottle of booze over there?
That is no, that's the Kraken. I did at one point slightly release, but you can't. It's not like you can go here and I'm going to get liquored up and then do hardware testing. No, you can't do that. So that was more.
I know you shouldn't do that.
No, I did that one time, way back when I lived in Lexington. I was excited. Because I was adding cache memory to a motherboard I'd gotten. I was like, oh boy, cache memory. This is way back. And I was liquored up, I don't know why, and I got in there and put the cache memory in, and then lo and behold, the motherboard wouldn't work. I'm like, what's happened? Well, I looked, I'd taken a flathead screwdriver and pulled the old cache out to put the new cache in, and just carved up all the lands underneath, they just cut them. And I thought to myself, because I use a lot of people are like, oh, don't use a flathead screwdriver, you'll screw it like that. I'm like, nah, I've done it for years, and I still will do it. But that's a danger, and so if you're not liquored up, no problem. If you are liquored up, there you get yourself a problem right there. So
hey, Graham.
That's the way she goes.
Angus, hello.
I was pleased. The haul turned out to be quite nice. Theoretically, I'm supposed to go over today and meet the same guy and pick up the Silicon Graphics machine.
I thought John bought that.
For John. That's a whole other story. Apparently, Boat angered this guy, and then Boat just wanted me to go pick it up for him. So I'm going to go pick it up. Boat's out of town, too. So.
Okay.
Oh, the guy sent me a message. Before we go online,
We're already live.
Well, I mean, before we get it going, I want to mention this, and maybe because someone in the chat room, you're a smart bunch, and you could tell me this guy has gotten some new items here, some other stuff to sell, and one of the things he's trying to get rid of are 2 Mac G4s. Anything with a Mac? Power Max, he says. G4
Yeah.
Power Max. What are those? Are those laptops? Is that what
I'm
those
pretty
are?
sure those are laptops. Yes. I
And
mean, I can do an internet search.
He was at, well, I just got this. That's why I didn't search. He told me this yesterday, and I was like, huh. And I asked Boat about it. Boat's like, I'll give him 25 bucks.
There you go.
Oh, it's the plastic fantastic, eh? I think Boat's already got one of those.
I don't.
I'm not really a Mac. I've got a Mac. I got a Mac. Remember that song?
I'm sure, no. I'm sure $25 is a fair price for that, but.
So anyway, I don't. Those are plastic and fantastic. So I don't know what I'd do with it. I haven't got to play my current Mac that much. I worked on my old PC this week, Brent, and
Your old DOS machine?
yeah, I did. And I've been trying like gangbusters to get my SD card to IDE gimmick to work. This thing won't take this thing. It won't do it. I was like, son of a gun. So what I did end up rigging up, you're gonna love this. I found this gimmick. This was no easy task, by the way. But I have now, I've got one of the few DOS machines on around, certainly around here anyway, that will accept a USB drive in DOS. And I mean a big one. I got 32 gig USB drive hooked to it. Now the funny thing is, it's finicky, so I've had to go through several drives, but it works. I've been playing stuff on it, and so that's been kind of neat. So I'm ready to go with some DOS action, and I've got a gimmick that will let me hook the DOS machine up and do and capture video from that too. So that's a new gimmick I've gotten. So that'll be kind of fun.
You know what I played this weekend?
Emerson Arcadia.
Well, yes, that's true. But I played an MMO VR game.
Oh, God. These are always death.
Jamie, Mike, Matt, and myself,
Yeah.
good Matt, all hopped on Saturday morning and played played this thing. Not bad. I mean, let me step back. The graphics are crap.
Yeah.
The storyline is garbage. The enemies are generic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty fun.
MMO, eh?
Yeah. And it's actually got some very unique, like, spellcasting gimmicks. And I was playing a paladin, so I got a Thor-like hammer I could throw around. It was very interesting. For a VR game, they let you have the first 10 levels for free.
Uh-huh.
And you can play to 10 levels in each class. But that thing's $40. $40.
I just want you with the light.
Yeti MMO, I like it.
And that's working.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's
you've got the light turned the exact opposite way.
Yeah, it's diffusion.
Oh, is that what it is?
The light we're actually getting is reflecting off the ceiling.
Where'd you learn so much about lighting?
Nowhere.
Light man. You're very impressive.
We just entered the void.
Oh, man.
Oh,
it's dark out here. We got to thank the Dunk for giving us the extended 10-minute version of this video. We just fly across the Tron planet for 10 continuous minutes.
There was something else I wanted to talk to you about this morning.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
You got 4 minutes. It better be good.
I can't remember what it was.
Pathetic. We had a...
Your extended Mac story has made me forget.
A Mac story? It was just... by the way, here's a Mac. You know, you saw Boat's Incredible haul of software from our buddy in Germany, who is a real super nice guy. And Boat now has the shelves aligned with Amiga, which Amiga games we can't play, I might add, and crap loads of Specky tapes. I mean, to beat the band, and CD32 stuff, which he can't play. He's now all he needs is the machine. He'll be ready to go.
Yeah, actually, I watched quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
He's having some streaming issues, but
yeah, we've been there. We know how that goes. But you ready to rock and roll? We've got a few more minutes here.
I'm trying to think, man.
Don't hurt yourself.
You're killing me on what.
What do you mean? What did I do?
Why? That was actually something important.
You know, I went to the Fun City Arcade Thursday to check out their retro game.
Is it up?
It's up. And I got there, and they had it roped off because they were painting the railings. I was so mad.
Dude, you're bigger than them. Just push your way
I'm
in.
not. The guy painting the railings was a big guy.
No.
And I had Luke with me. I couldn't just go.
Well, he's the distraction, man.
I told the guy, I was like, I was already hoping to go to that arcade, but you're painting. He goes, yep. I was like, well, there you go.
It's like, well, I've got some money. I'd be willing to put right in there. Nope.
You know, those ticket games, those games you love so much. By the way, I asked that guy if he'd be interested in your El Dorado, or whatever that thing's called. Whatever that.
Don't try to sell my crap.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking if it'd be something he'd be interested in buying, and he is.
Nah, I'm not selling El Dorado.
It hasn't worked. It worked like one try when we first got it.
It works. I just need a motor that can spin the coin mech.
It's a
coin
big,
counter.
heavy.
It's not that heavy.
That thing's heavy.
It's on wheels.
And also, it's a ticket game. These ticket games are the worst. They're the worst.
No, they're not.
They ruined arcades for me.
No. Okay.
You put a quarter in
Aaron,
it, and it's instantly gone.
Aaron, they saved arcades.
Here we go. I don't care. I don't
They
like them.
saved arcades. Arcades are dead. Stop being an old man. I mean, I know you can't, but you should.
Listen.
Speaking of which, happy birthday, Christian. My son turned 22 today.
Yeah. Oh, it's today?
Today's
it wasn't.
today.
It wasn't. What was I saw you guys the other day? Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah. Good for him. How old?
22.
Soon he will be a man.
Oh, he's trying to man it up now.
He's trying.
Hey, he gets through school, and we finish that chapter. And get Lexi through school.
Man. I feel the same way about Luke. he's 10.
Yeah, you've got a while.
Trust me, I'm already feeling the burn, man. He brought some homework home the other day. One of the questions just said, listen, we're going to miss this one. I don't know the answer. I have no idea what. It was real, this weird question. We ended up, so I said, listen, here's what you write down. And the teacher, I guess she missed it or just counted it. But it was I don't know what. This stuff's hard. He's got vocabulary questions about his math. I never did. It's like fill in the blank vocabulary questions about math.
You mean like, is this a function? Is this a fraction?
No, it's like basically definitions of stuff of various math terms.
Well, yeah. No, what's wrong with
Man,
that?
those kids are so far ahead of where I was.
Oh yeah. But the problem is, are they still? They're not doing the stupid math anymore, are they? They got rid of that.
There is no stupid math.
Yes, there
Common
is.
math?
Yeah,
I don't
Common
know.
Core.
No, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I know he's learning math. That's all I know. You know, West Hayes, where he goes to school, is
They're super school.
Yeah, they've got like blue ribbon. So they're one of the best schools in the nation type schools.
Yeah, well,
got lucky there, didn't I?
Well, it's the same place I went. Same place you went.
I know, but it wasn't that good when I was there. I can tell you that right now.
Let me tell you a story about West Hayes.
Yeah. Oh no, this is a nice story.
It is. It's gonna be a short one. When I was a wee lad,
Yeah.
West Hayes didn't have 8,000 additional buildings cluttering up behind the school.
Much like the high schools like that too. Yeah.
It had a small forest behind it. That the gym teacher 2 or 3 times a year would take the kids back there and let them go in this little forest area.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, and when I believe I was in 4th grade. There was a fallen log. It was a huge tree. I mean, this thing was massive.
Yeah.
That had fallen down and had crossed a little. It hadn't even crossed a ravine. It was just a dip in the earth, right?
Yeah.
So our thing for that day was our teacher made us walk down the log. That was our lesson.
They made you walk
it
down it?
It was the lesson thing.
All right. Boy, times have changed.
So, I mean, the dip in the ravine is nothing, but the log is the size of a child.
Okay.
Okay? So, typically speaking, it wouldn't be as bad as, it would be about the equivalent of falling off a balance beam, because of the height. So, we're all walking across this thing, and you know what's going to happen.
Someone falls off the log.
Falls off the log and maims herself.
Uh-huh.
I mean, brutally, like, they had to take her to the hospital.
Yeah.
That was the end of forest time.
Yeah. So it was your fault.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't fall.
It was your class's fault.
No, but I can tell you what is my fault.
Yeah.
When I was in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, we were playing Foursquare. You remember
Yeah.
Foursquare?
Oh, yeah, I like Foursquare. That's a good
So
game.
we're playing Foursquare, and somebody went to spike the ball, and I went to try to get under it to stop it.
Yeah.
Broke my fingers. Into Foursquare.
Really?
They can't play. Yeah, I'm the reason why they didn't play Foursquare. Now I think they play it again. I'm a distant memory.
I'll be honest with you, I'd forgotten about Foursquare. I used to play the crap out of that back
Yeah.
in school.
So a lot of injuries. Also, West Hayes Elementary is when I jumped off the swing and brutally broke my arm and had to put a pin in it.
You were an idiot.
Oh, well, yeah. I was a dumb
What's wrong
kid.
with you?
I'm a dumb adult, but in a different way.
You beat me to it, eh? I was going to go there. All right. You ready to do this now?
I am pumped about today's episode.
Oh, man, I'm glad you guys are. Yeah, easiest falling off the log, exactly. Now, this is going to be like last week. I'm going to try to do this thing on the fly. So, if something happens, just keep barreling through.
But you are going to record as well, right? So we have the show as an entity.
Well, yeah, I'm going to record. Are you kidding me? I'm yeah, I'm going to record it. But we'll have to figure out what we're going to do about that. We never did really come to a decision on that.
We'll talk.
So, and if you're in the chat room and you see me do something real stupid, don't be alarmed. It's
it's all part of the plan.
I know it's hard to believe that I could make some sort of snafu or foible, if you will, but it could happen. So, all right, you ready? We're gonna go dark for a minute, and then we're gonna crank this sucker. Let's go crank up old school, Brent. You ready? Here we go. We're gonna go dark.
I'm scared of the dark, man.
Well, I don't blame you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an off-the-rails train wreck this week on ARG Presents. I'm Amigo Aaron, joined by the man who's driving the train down the tracks, and the tracks are broke, and the train's on fire, and it's full of dynamite. It's the Brent. Boop, boop. There you go. Casey Jones. Good Lord. So, if you joined us last week, you'll remember that we're so low on wheel pieces that we're playing any crazy thing we can find. And this week, we're going to be playing one of the crazier things I've ever gotten into, Britt.
Yes.
It's a wacky little gimmick. We call it the Emerson Arcadia 2001.
Bam.
Now, in case you're wondering why we're on this city street for you to watch the video, this is the home of Emerson, Hackensack, New Jersey, Brent. Hackensack, New Jersey. I wanted to find a nice scenic location for this week's episode, so we're here in Hackensack.
I feel dirty.
That's right. Hey, I've been to Hackensack, and of course several other places. I was from Jersey when I was very young. Now, Brent, what do you know about the Emerson Arcadia 2001?
Now or then?
Now.
Now I know quite a bit. Back then, I knew nothing.
No.
If you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said, what? And if you'd have showed me a picture, I said, that's a Coleco, man.
Listen, I'd heard of Emerson. All right.
Oh, of course.
I've heard of 2001.
It's a good movie.
Arcadia was a spin-off band for some of the guys in Duran Duran. So I've heard of that.
Sometimes I misspell arcade like that.
Yeah, these are unrelated items. That's a big extent of it. It's funny to think that an outfit like Emerson, I mean, I don't know, I didn't even know where Emerson was actually from, because sometimes these companies are from Sweden or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So good old USA for Emerson, and of course they're synonymous with like radios and stuff. You know?
Absolutely.
And so who'da thunk it that these guys? Of course, this is the '80s, man. Everybody had to give them some of that sweet gaming action.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So let's learn a little bit about the Emerson Arcadia 2001. I love the name, by the way. I love it when they have years, because 2001 was a long time from 1984.
And it's a long time from 2019.
Yeah. So this was an early release system that came out in May of 1982. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So we're going on 40 years almost. And this thing got discontinued in 1984. So it was Emerson Arcadia.
It was a short trip.
It did.
And it was late in one of those and early in the other.
Yeah. So, but this thing takes cartridges. It's got a whoops. There's a little ding dong. It's got a Signetics 2650 CPU. You ever heard of the Signetics CPU? I hadn't either. That's another weird one, eh? 1K RAM. It's our One big K.
That's where the 1 from 2001 comes from.
That's right. It doesn't have 2,000 megs or whatever. It's got it's the graphics on this thing. Get this. Brace yourself. You got 128 by 208, and then you can go crazy and go to 128 by 104 with 8 colors.
Bam.
So there you go. You got two 12-button keypad and fire button, like sort of like Intellivision-esque controllers.
Yeah, it's a phone pad.
You know, and it's not an unattractive system to be completely honest with you. I thought it looked pretty good. The controllers sort of fit nicely in a little holster gimmick. It looks a lot like an Intellivision if they stuck a joystick through that godforsaken disc.
Yep.
You know, these keypad things were all the rage. We've talked about this before. We've covered a lot of machines where they stuck these keypads on there because everyone thought they had to have a phone-style controller.
Well, I think that was what they were trying to do. I think they were actually trying to make it look like a phone to be more less off-putting to people who didn't know what was going on. I honestly think that.
Well, I don't know about that. I just think they thought it'd be cool to have a bunch of. I thought it'd make it look a little more interesting, maybe they could use the functionality. Who knows?
Something to note on the sticks on these things. While it has the 12 face buttons, it only has one side fire button.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one.
That would be annoying because the Intellivision has two on both sides.
Well, it has them on both sides, but it only has one on each side.
Right. So now the funny thing about this is. I didn't realize this. This is part of sort of a family of controllers, okay, or not controllers, but of consoles.
Oh.
Right? You know what I mean?
Are you talking about the clones?
Well, it's we're not going to call them clones because they're not really clones. They're more like everyone took sort of the same parts and they sort of made the same system.
But without the compatibility.
Right. So, the hardware on this is weird. So, the hardware was sort of licensed by Philips, and Philips would license it to a lot of people. And so, you had, just to name a few of these systems, you had the Intertron VC4000, the Volt Mace. You had a bunch of crazy things. You had, now listen to some of these names. The AdVision Home Arcade, the Prestige MPTO3, the Telefever. I like the Telefever.
That's one of my favorite as well.
That's a good one. But basically, these game systems all are based on the same kind of chipset, and so what that means is they're all cartridge compatible with each other.
Sorta.
I mean, for the most part, the cartridges will work. And there's a big list you can get. I found that
there's like over a dozen. There are over a dozen clones of this system.
And the funny thing is, there's a group of people. There is sort of a community out there for people that are into the Emerson. I found a lot of information
on the system. Yeah, there's tons of information.
You know, and there's I don't know how active they are, Brent, but there's a community of people that are into it. So this thing had some games, Brent. Let's just go there, and. A lot of their games were very arcade cloney. So we were right at home with a lot of these games. But they did have some licensed stuff.
Yes.
Including the game that I'm doing this week. They also had...
Which is a rarity because it is...
They also had... they had more than... what do you mean it's a rarity? I don't understand.
That they had officially licensed games.
Why? Why do you think that's rare? Just because they didn't want, no one was going to pay much for the license?
No, because they tried to release a ton of other licensed games like the Pac-Mans and the Defenders and Atari. Well, this was at the time when the Atari had the sue machine with the Gatling gun style lawsuits, and Emerson got caught up in that.
Well,
so
the problem is
they had a Pac-Man ready to go that was called Pac-Man.
They had Pac-Man, Berserk, Phoenix, a bunch of more.
Yeah, and then they got sued into oblivion, and then all that ended.
That's right. I mean, they were worried about getting sued. I'm not sure they got sued or not for real. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't find anything where it said they actually they got full. I saw people that said they did get sued, and I saw people that said the threat of a suit scared them to change the game.
I think they actually got sued.
So what they did was they changed these games into some not sort of similar, but not totally, exactly the same games. It's the same old shtick. on this thing. Now they did have some obscure sort of arcade games. I didn't like, for example, aside from the one I picked, Route 16. Did you know it's an arcade game? I hadn't heard of that. Another one, Jump Bug.
I've played Jump Bug.
Oh, you've played Jump Bug? Okay, well there you go. That sounds like something you want to avoid at a hotel.
Well, see, I didn't know that your game was an arcade game.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of it.
I hadn't either. So, but we'll get into that. So, this, believe it or not, this is gonna blow your mind. The Arcadia console and its all of its sub buddies, Bandai Arcadia and the Leisure Dynamics, Leisure Vision. I mean, I could go on. There's hundreds of there's not. There's a lot.
There's over a dozen.
This little group of machines had over 350 game carts released for them. That's an astounding amount of games for this bunch.
Well,
I mean, think about that. Now, again, we're covering the Emerson version today, but these other versions went on for quite a while.
I was about ready to say the Emerson did not have that many.
Yeah, but they were compatible, so it could play these games.
They weren't fully compatible.
They were almost totally compatible, from what I read. I'm just telling you. That's the way it is.
I read differently. I read that there were several compatibility
Well, I mean,
issues.
when you 350 carts, you're gonna run into a couple.
Yeah, because the Emerson only released about 35 games.
So let's talk about just a few of these games here I'm not gonna go through a huge list of these, but some of these that I've found interesting. In fact, one just popped up on the screen. Astrobear. This is a game that I used to play in the arcade. I didn't know there was any officially licensed home ports of this.
Is this one that got the official?
This is an officially, Astro Invader, an officially licensed port of the arcade game. Now this thing had the stuff you would have expected it to have. It had Space Invader clones. It had it had crazy Pac-Man knockoffs. It had football. It had baseball. I noticed that a lot of the games on this, this thing seems to me it falls somewhere between it's like the Intellivision and maybe the Spectrum or the Coco had like a child, and the games are they're not bad looking games really.
They're not. I've heard, however, that the huge failing of the Emerson Arcadia 2001 was its dreadful controls.
Well, isn't that the failing of all these systems that have that keypad thing?
Well, I've heard that the disc, when they jammed the joystick in the middle of that thing to try to give it arcade action, it made it somehow worse. Like your up, down, left, right, you're on, brother. But anything that requires a diagonal, and you're screwed.
Well, you could get these gimmicks for the Intellivision that would give you that little nub down there, and they all suck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad that Emerson just cut out the middleman and forced the nub upon you.
Well, part of the problem is, that's a controlled disc. It's not like it doesn't work like a joystick. It's not like there's micro switches in there. It's a weird, pressure sensitive. And
I'm very surprised that that so many people went this route that to use this disc thing. I guess they thought it was awesome, but it really wasn't.
Hey, I don't know. Or, I guess, if you think about it, after the Atari joystick, all the systems, it seems like ColecoVision and Intellivision, this. If you go back and look at the 5200, the 78, the 7800, they finally came out with just a proper, but it was horrible, And then, so sticks, it's funny, the Atari stick was almost a thing of beauty, a perfection.
It was.
And everything degraded after that.
All the way up to the Nintendo D-pad.
Like people love the ColecoVision. I do too. But its controller was junky
garbage.
too, and it was similar. It wasn't a disc. It was that little crap joystick, and it was no good.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? But people thought these were a big deal. I noticed on here as I was looking at this list that they also have a licensed home port of the game Pleiades, which is a game another game me and you used to play back in the days. Those are some obscure. They must have got these for a song.
Well, yeah, I think when the Atari thing fell through, from what I researched, they scrambled and they were like, "Oh crap, what are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
And they turned to pretty much anyone that would sell a name to them, and they made a game off of it.
They also a couple of other ones that caught my eye was they had a licensed version of The End, which is another weird arcade game, and another one that we've actually covered on here. Turtles. They had a license. Yep. Turtles got a. It's the ultimate ported arcade game to like low-end systems. You know what I'm saying?
I almost picked Turtles because I enjoy the game so much, but I knew we'd already been there, so I had to go somewhere different.
I had a very similar situation because I was like, oh, Turtles, we can do it. But I mean, hey, Turtles is Turtles, and we already played the perfect version. So, yeah, I know. So, out of this library of beauties, we had to pick a couple games to try out. Now, I would not say these games are deep. This is a more of a Twitch system. I didn't see any. I didn't notice any deep role playing games or the like.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah, and so
no, you're not gonna. I didn't see anything that looked like an adventure style game from the Atari or anything like that.
Right. So, I guess I'll lead the dance this week because I think honestly I think your game's a little more interesting than mine. But I will say since I never heard of this, I had to go for it. So I was looking through. I thought this week since they had so many arcade ports of obscure arcade games, I was like, I'm going to try to find something that's an arcade port that I've not heard of. And there were actually several on here. I've mentioned a couple of them, and I ended up going with a game. I swear to you, but I've never heard of this game, never seen it, and it's called Jungler.
Yes,
the Jungler, man. Now, it's not, I thought, the funny thing is when I looked into it, I was like, oh man, I bet this is like a Jungle Hunt clone.
I did the exact same thing. I was like, oh cool, a Jungle Hunt clone.
And or maybe some sort of juggling type thing.
No, I didn't think that at all. So, why would Jungler point to What, they just misspell it?
They could have misspelled it, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe a guy juggled in the jungle. A coconut.
He jungle type thing.
Yeah. Well, it's none of these things.
No, it's not.
The closest game that I could compare this to is maybe something like Casey's Crazy Chase or.
It's Snake.
Well, no, it's not Snake.
This is Battle Snake.
It's Battle Snake. Well, there you go. That's a better name than what I had.
By the way, before you get into it, because I don't think you're going to mention this because it's on the arcade version.
Yeah.
This thing had a crazy cabinet.
Oh, really? I didn't look at the cabinet.
It had bezel art that went over the screen a little bit, one of those gimmicks. I'm not saying it was great. I'm not even saying it was good. It was just kind of crazy.
All right. Well, so what do you got here in Jungle? What you've got here is, like you said, it's a weird worm-based game.
Yep.
All right. So what are you doing on this thing? Well, again, based on an arcade game, I guess I should go into the arcade game first. This was developed by Konami and published by Stern. So this is an old Stern game. Now, this only had 2 home ports. All right. The other one is something I've heard of, but I don't know what it is. The Tommy Tudor. Have you ever
Put it on the wheel.
It's
going on the wheel, folks.
The Tommy Tudor's on the wheel.
It's going.
I'm just not familiar with that. But so think about this. Jungler had 2 ports. This was one of them. That's the main reason I picked it, because you can't really play it on anything else except for the Tommy Tudor. So this got released in the arcade way back in December of 1981. All right.
Yeah, it was one of the earlies.
Yeah.
It was one of the openers.
Well, this is. I'm talking in the arcade. It got released in '81. Yeah. And so what you've got here is a standard arcade game at the time, but it is in color. Yep. And you basically control a worm, all right? And there's another worm, and what you try to do is blow segments off that worm until he's smaller than you. Then you can, I guess, you just basically eat him. That's what
I want to stop you right there.
Yeah,
they're not worms.
Or snakes.
They're snakes.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. They look more like show me a snake that's segmented like that. There's no snakes that look like that. There's no worms that look like that either. I'll grant you. Okay, what can we? Beetle?
The arcade actually says snake versus snake action.
Okay, that's what it says.
Yes.
Snake versus snake action.
Yes.
Listen, they're little balls that look like a spaceship is strapped.
They look like little centipedes.
Also,
maybe.
How many worms or snakes shoot?
Well, the snakes can spit venom.
Oh, boy, you're stretching now. Did you work for Konami? Are you representing these guys? So anyway, you've got a big maze, and you run through it.
You do. Those things are all true.
And you don't run, whatever, crawl, slither, what do you want to do? And you go after the other combatant. Let's go there. I don't know how big a hit this was, but I do remember that Graham mentioned that he actually played this back in the day. So there you go. My God, I'm looking. Britt pulled up the Britt pulled up the art for this game. That is hideous looking. So, so you've got enemy creatures that appear in one of 3 colors. Red creatures are longer in length than the player, and that basically means if they will kill you if you touch them.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, yellow, when they turn yellow, they're the same size as you. So if you run into them, it doesn't kill you. Nothing happens.
Right.
And when they're green, you can eat them. Right. It sounds weird. It is weird, isn't it? It's a weird game. Now, the arcade had some. The graphic was okay. It was okay.
It was okay.
It was no great shakes. And the home release, it's. I mean, they got it right. I mean, it plays pretty much the same way. You go through the maze. You shoot the bad guy, and you eat him. I mean, when he's smaller. And I sat and played. I played this thing forever. It was not. I didn't find it difficult. What did you think about that?
When I fired it up for the first time, because I didn't have a clue what was going on, I kept dying. And then when I started up my second game, I played forever.
Yeah.
The AI on this, there's a little bit there lacking. Because you can basically get them in a pattern, and also you can upgrade your worm with
you can add segments,
right?
Basically.
That appear on the screen. You can eat them as power-ups.
Yeah.
And once you get to a certain length where the computer would have to shoot you literally 12 times to get you below his level, you can play forever.
Yeah. I didn't find it hard. Now.
And the computer always, when he dies, he always respawns in the exact same space.
Yeah.
And you get just enough time to line up so just when he appears, you can blast him down to edible level almost immediately.
Yeah. And I noticed that there's a few subtleties about this game that I found odd. And these kind of snake-like games, this is the only one I've ever seen where you can literally stop and go backwards.
Backwards, yes.
And so if this guy's on your tail but you're bigger than him, you can just slam on the brakes, turn around and eat him.
Yeah.
You know, and he doesn't do that often. He will do it, but it's very unusual for him to do it. And something else that's strange about it is that he is sort of evasive, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of intellect there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Ghosts of Pac-Man where you're like, something's going on. Like this guy he'll run away from you, but that's pretty much the extent of it. So basically you have to head him off the pass, basically.
And that's not difficult. The AI on this is rock bottom stupid.
I don't know if I'd go that far. It's not that bad.
It is. It is. I mean, the AI is very poor. The game itself is lacking in a lot of areas. There's no complexity at all.
Now it does have 64 game variations on the cart, and I went through these, and from what I could tell, that's what it's billed as. I could tell that you had a choice, much like the old Atari. You could go through with the game select switch, and you could pick different mazes, and so
which doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, if you get bored of one maze, because from what I went through and played like a bunch of different mazes, and I couldn't tell any difference in the game, except that I was in a different maze. Now the different mazes were more complex, you know. Sometimes,
this is a game that you have to have a second player.
Well, you can't play 2 players simultaneous. So you're screwed.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying it should have had that,
right?
Well,
because you just kill the AI over and over and over.
I'm not even sure that would make it that much fun, to be honest with you. Some interesting things about Jungler that I thought were amusing and interesting. There was a tabletop handheld version of this that was released in 82 by an outfit called Gakken. So I'm assuming
release the Gakken?
Yeah, release the Gakken, yeah. And apparently this was sort of, let's say, ripped off, or an homage was paid in some games that I've heard of but never played. Maybe some people out there have heard of these. There was a home clone of this from Broderbund called Apple Panic. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
And another game that was called Serpentine. I'd heard of that one too. So, Yeah. I never heard. I'd heard those. And I get this. This is really bizarre. I couldn't believe this little tidbit. Jungler was one of the first titles made available in the Microsoft Xbox 360 game room. Remember the game room?
Why would you?
I don't know. I guess it goes without saying that the game room doesn't exist anymore. Game room got shut down. That's the way she goes.
Now, the concept of this, the very base concept of this, is a concept that lives on even today. The eat the bigger one. There are some games out now on cell phones and computers and stuff that the whole thing is eat a little bit of stuff until you're big enough to eat the bigger guy and keep growing.
Yeah.
So it's neat to know that this concept has legs, but this implementation of it...
I see what you did there. It doesn't have legs.
This implementation of it is just dull.
Box looks cool.
Not really.
Well, I thought it looked okay. It's got, no, nothing. So you didn't like the game? Well,
no, I was very disappointed.
Well,
I was very disappointed in this. I will say, I played this long enough to feel that I knew what I was getting into, because once I started my second game, I could be playing it right now.
Yeah. Well, this won't improve your mood towards this game. This apparently, or the system, from what I read going through all the community, this was actually one of the more heralded games in the system. So this may be the high watermark of the Emerson Arcadia 2001. I did find a single review. It's a more modern review from the Video Game Critic. He gave this a C. A C. So I'd say a C is probably about right.
I would even go a little lower.
You're tough. You hate everything.
When the AI is so stupid that you can literally play forever, that's not a game. That's an exercise.
It's a game. It's a game. So we had listen, you're poo-pooing everything. We did have a review sent in on this bad boy.
Oh.
Let me navigate my way to it
wouldn't
here.
happen to be from Graham W.
Oh,
Wacky,
yes.
is it?
It's the one and only. Graham writes, Jungler is an arcade game I love. This is actually a licensed Konami title for the Emerson Arcadia, and I thought it was fairly well done. It was very bright on the eyes, especially with that cyan background, but the game plays quite well. It's a little slower than the arcade version. It only has one enemy on the screen at one time. But that enemy is quite good at chasing you down. It's a decent game, and at least feels like the arcade version of this game. 6 out of 10.
Now, I will. Something he mentioned, the graphics on this,
yeah,
absolutely fine. There's never a point where you're like, man, where's the bad guy, or like how many segments do I have? Am I bigger than the other guy? That stuff they did nail. They nailed real well.
Yeah, I like I said, I played. Did you actually try the arcade version of this?
No.
It's better. But, it's a simple game from a simpler time.
That's true.
So, as we move along here, Brent.
Yes.
Now, I'll have to say, when you picked your game, I looked at just the title of it. I thought to myself, this has got to be a Brent game, because it's the title looks like so stupid. Tell the people what you picked.
Aaron, I went a whole different direction. You went, man, let's go mainstream. Let's go.
Jungler is mainstream?
Let's go by the numbers. In your little box world, yeah, you're living the high life. I went the other way,
yes,
and I went for a hobo.
Hobo.
Yes.
No, just the name of this. Who would go buy this? For my son to experience video games, the fantasy world, let's get hobo.
That's right. So let's go over the interesting world of hobo, okay?
It's the deadly world of hobo.
I found the official story of this game, and I would like to share it with all the people at home.
It's got a story?
It does.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear this.
It is the story of a hobo trying to catch his freight train out of town. To reach his train, he must cross the highway without being hit by cars. Across the highway, he must climb ladders to scale wall, which are policed by marching cops. If caught, hobo goes to jail, but hobo can jump over the cops. Reaching freight yard, hobo must jump across tops of moving trains to go out of town. That is the story of a hobo.
I like the fact that he's just simply referred to as hobo.
That's right.
He's so low in the social rungs that he doesn't even get a name. He's just hobo.
And you know how
He's one up from bum.
you know how I know that the story is important to the game of Hobo.
Why?
It is plastered as a sticker on the back of the cartridge.
You're kidding me.
No, something we failed to mention in the beginning. The Emerson Arcadia had 3 style of cartridges.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
They had normal size cartridge, which is about the size of a 2600 game.
All right.
And then you had your really rare mid-size cart, which was a little bit taller.
All right.
And then you had massive book tome,
Okay.
which was what Hobo came on, which is literally the size of 2 Atari cartridges stacked on top of each other, and you plant it into the system like a victory flag.
I love it. I didn't know about the cartridge size. That's awesome.
And the cartridge is large enough to not only have this the story and instructions on a sticker on the back in English, but also in French. And in French, I think I don't know the language, but I've taken the time to translate it in my own head.
Yeah.
And this is not a game about Hobo.
No.
No, this is a game about Hob from the planet Obo.
Oh God,
Because-
you're really stretching now.
Because no, hear me out. Because no mortal man can do what this hobo does. He's got super speed to dodge cars running through traffic. He has super leap to jump in one motion from a standing location over top of a cop.
Yeah.
And he also has zero fear as he jumps from train car to train car, moving trains as he gets to his destination.
He should have fear.
No,
He should have a lot of fear when I'm playing him.
So let's talk about Hob. Hob
Please.
is a 3-screen game where you play 2 of them in an isometric view. The very first screen has Hob trying to cross.
Please, refer to him as Hobo.
No,
Don't call him
his
Hob.
name is no. This is not a hobo's life. This is a life of an alien named Hob.
It looks like a hobo's life to me.
He has to cross 7 lanes of traffic. 7. And all the lanes of traffic are going in different directions.
Yes, who designed this freeway? And there's no median either, so you're just basically, you're both. You got to get across the highway of certain death.
So after you and if you get hit by a car, the paramedics run and pick up Hob
Yes,
and
they
take
do.
him off screen.
At least you know he's okay.
Yeah. If you see what the pixel art is for the guy in the stretcher, he does not look okay.
He looks a little rough.
The second scene has, oh man, that's really messed up, has Hob scaling the side of a building, kind of like through fire escapes, except that this is the most military reinforced building of all time. There are cops
It's like Fort Knox or
everywhere.
something. He's trying to break
Everywhere. And like I said, Hob can single jump, standing still, jump completely over an officer of the law.
Yeah.
One shot, no problem. So he scales up this building, right? And that's also isometric view. And you get to the final stage. The final stage is a rail yard. And it's a much set up like the freeway, where trains are just whizzing every direction, back and forth. And sure, you might think, well, you just go across the rails, no problem. No. Hob don't play that way.
No.
Hob jumps from the top of rail cars to another rail car going the opposite direction to ride it across to jump to the other train going the other direction, all the way to his destination.
He's like Indiana Jones or something.
He's a superhero.
He's something.
He is a superhero. When you get to the end, Hob does a little dance.
It's a stupid dance. It looks more like a spastic fit.
And then the game repeats on a higher speed and a higher difficulty level.
And where you have zero chance.
At that point, just turn it off and start again.
Yeah, because once you get through the initial bunch, that freeway, it's insane.
Yes, there are tricks. I mean, the freeway section when you're first playing it is difficult.
But it's doable because the gimmick
There
is you
is
get behind
patterns.
a car and you go with the traffic.
There's
basically.
patterns
Yeah.
actually. But boy, on the loop, forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. It's super speed. A few things about this. This was actually released by Emerson.
Okay.
It was a first-party game in 1983. This was one of the last games for the system. It was actually box number 37 because Emerson does that box numbering thing.
Yeah.
So this was 37 on the list. This was also the reason why the cart for this was so big was this had 8K of memory on it.
That explains that it's more in depth than I would say the majority of games.
Yeah, and the graphics for HOBO are really good for the time because they have the isometric view, that kind of diagonal looking view, which really gives it a nice feel, except for the last stage, which you're kind of looking down the train yard from an above view.
Yeah.
And Hob is just basically a stick figure at this point to show how small he is in comparison to how large the trains are, which is still not to proper scale, but it gives you a little more understanding of what's going on. And the game, each stage is very, very different. When the first stage, when you're running across the highway, it's all about dodging cars. It's all about speed and accuracy. The second stage, when you're avoiding the cops, it is very much a stealth game. You have to wait. You have to.
I mean, it is. I get it.
It is.
You're sort of right. You're sort of right.
It's a stealth game because
I hadn't thought about it that way.
You have to wait. You have to patiently wait for your cops to go by because the cops can come as singles or as pairs. And if they come in pairs and you're in front of them, you're screwed.
You should also mention that when the cops catch you, they take you to jail.
They hail you on.
This thing actually has little cut scenes.
Yeah. It does. They actually show a little cutscene of your guy getting pulled off the jail, and it even says jail on the side of the building.
This sort of plays like an arcade game because the cutscenes are real quick. Yeah. When I first loaded this up, I was like, I just looked at that traffic. I mean, it looks like you're just like, my God.
It looks very ominous.
It does. And then I got killed over and over before I finally figured out a trick to get across. And the second stage I also found pretty difficult until I figured out you could jump. Whoops. I was trying to get up without jumping, which you can do, by the way. I did it.
You can do it, yes.
The third stage is almost impossible.
Well,
and what hoses it is at first, since you're looking down the train yard, the length of track you have to work with gets smaller and smaller, and it seems like that would be a benefit. But the problem is, HOBO can't see when the next train's coming, and if you ride off the track, you die.
Yeah.
So at the very tippity top, where there's very little track going across the screen, it's super tough, isn't it, to get across there?
Yeah, and especially since the first time you get to the stage, your inkling is not to jump on top of the train cars. It's to avoid the train cars. So I died plenty of times trying to go in front of the trains and stepping on the track and dying.
It's funny, I jumped right on the train.
Really?
Yeah, it's the first thing I did. I was like, because we'd already avoided something, so I just wanted the natural something that plus, I looked at how the level looked. I was like, at the top of the screen, there's no way you could not get on a train because there's so little track. You just know where to run.
I obviously didn't look at it, but eventually, you did loop the game, right?
I did loop it, yeah. But I could never loop it. I never got past the freeway again.
Yes, because the traffic is insane.
That's the problem, and that's
Well, I think if you played it, if you own this game, if this was your game that you played on a semi-regular basis, I bet you would find tricks to get past the sped-up version.
I don't think you would find any.
No, you would. Because think of how many times... This is a game where when you first start, you're going to die a lot. And as you learn tricks, you get better.
I can't imagine what the third level would be like. I mean, it's just...
the trains?
No, I mean, the third level of the cars. If you can manage to loop it twice.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm not buying that. I don't think there's no kid that's getting past this thing twice.
You're insane.
I want to meet the man that can pull that trick.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen a lot. And in fact, I might go home and just grind it to prove you wrong.
Yeah, you do that. You make sure you record it too. I like to see that.
But this game, you know what this reminded me of?
Yeah, Frogger,
No.
Freeway.
No, Congo Bongo.
It had.
Because Congo Bongo has multi-stages and has that isometric view.
Yeah, sort of. It doesn't. The third stage doesn't really remind me of anything, but Congo. I can see where you're going. It's not nearly as attractive as Congo Bongo.
Well, it's also
It's not as fun as Congo Bongo. Come on, but it's not bad.
I'm not going to say HOBO is another Yeti, because it's not that good.
No.
Okay? However, on a system that has very little to offer in originality that aren't just arcade clones, this is a pretty incredible game.
I will say I was pleasantly surprised, to be completely honest with you. After playing Jungler, Jungler is so simple.
Yes.
And so here comes a game that has 3 stages. It has a death scene, cut scenes.
Yep.
It has
It
has now. I mean, the train level reminds me a lot of the. So you've got the freeway level of Frogger, isometrically done, and this reminds me of a sort of a depth-ready version of the water part. Just because if you look at this, it's almost like jumping on the logs. I mean, it's not like they reinvented a wheel here.
No, I don't. No. I don't think they did. But I think they took 3 concepts that they had in mind for levels, and they executed them well. However, we do have the benefit of playing this either on joysticks or a modern joystick or a keyboard.
I use a keyboard on this
which I have heard makes all the difference, because the Emerson controllers were so bad that the diagonals were so hard to hit on the isometric levels that it made the game nearly unplayable, which is incredibly unfortunate, because this isn't going to save a system, folks. I'm not trying to imply that. But I think this could have been a breakaway hit for the system if it controlled better.
I will say this about the Emerson. I didn't have any trouble emulating it. It does work with joysticks, keyboard, and everything. And there are a lot of titles out there to explore if this thing's your bag. And this is probably, I mean, I have to say, it was certainly more interesting than my game. I mean, if it's not as playable, just because, like I said, the difficulty of the second level ramps up to exponentially. So,
it does. It goes rigged.
So that I dock it. And one thing you're talking about, like another Yeti. Yeti, you can play that one going forward. Well in this one, once you get past the train yard the first time, you're pretty much screwed.
Well, and I agree. You're not going to just start getting better. But I think everything on this is doable. None of the levels, I think, were so hard, even at the accelerated speed, that you're never going to get past them. I think it's just going to take a bit of a grind. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I do like the fact that HOBO, there are some small things that I find amusing. Like, for example, in a Manic Miner, like a thing that your extra men at the top of the screen, they sort of move and occasionally will dance.
Yeah.
And also when HOBO will dance when he completes it, and the game goes terrific.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Now,
when you beat it, it says terrific.
Now
you did it.
This did have a review back in the day.
Oh, okay.
From Tilt, which I don't know what Tilt is, but they gave the game a 6 out of 6. Perfect score. I think that's a little generous, but
yeah, it is.
But yeah. The sound was good. The graphics were incredible. This is something. If you're gonna put an Emerson emulator on your system, play it. If you are going to buy an Emerson system, you probably aren't gonna run out and buy HOBO, because it's about $160.
Yeah, and I should mention that Jungler, you're looking at the cart's $25 to $40, and the box version's $80. So it's pretty pricey. We had a review come in, again, from our good buddy Graham W. Vepke on HOBO. Graham writes, "This is a strange game. It starts with an isometric Activision freeway clone similar to the modern Cossie Road, and then another isometric stage, which is a Donkey Kong / Lode Runner inspired level, climbing ladders and avoiding enemies. And the third and final level is a glitchy, weird perspective Frogger log jumping clone on top of trains. Once you reach into that level, it loops and everything gets faster. The game is too difficult, and I didn't really want to keep playing. 4 out of 10.
Oh, I think that's harsh, Graham.
Graham dropped the hammer.
I think that's harsh.
Graham dropped the hammer big time on that bad boy. I enjoyed the game for what it was.
I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and I should mention,
I might even go to 7.
Because
I play compared to your game, which I played for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I just never died again.
Yeah.
I played HOBO for not quite an hour, but close to it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it all.
Yeah, just not in a row. I hit start over a lot.
Whoa.
An hour.
I mean.
Yeah. Just for closure on our Emerson Arcade, I did look up what it would cost to go buy an Emerson Arcade because I always do because I fall in love with everything we do. And this thing having so many games, I thought it might be fun. But this thing is not cheap. The console was going for between $125 all the way up if you're trying to get the box stuff up near $400.
Wow.
So this thing ain't cheap, brother. Something else that's not cheap. You know what it is?
It's not the wheel.
It's the wheel. Oh. We paid top dollar for this wheel, Brent. Give me a break.
We did?
Yeah. So
I didn't.
You don't know what we added this week, but I'm going to tell you. We have hit the end of the Brent cavalcade of baloney, and we've got the Enterprise 64 stuck on here. I don't know what that is, but I've not known what any of this stuff is for the most part.
You know what? I'm going to spin us up something good. I'm getting a good solid spin. Although I enjoyed our adventure today.
I thought it was interesting, it was something. Okay, I can't see what that is. And Brent's survey says
Steam.
Okay, so tell the people how this one's going to work, because even I'm not sure.
We are going to pick games from our Steam library. No buying anything new. You have to give something you currently own. Which, Aaron, we might have to play a little passy if we don't own each other's games. But this has to be something that you can purchase on the Steam store and that you have purchased from the Steam store right now. Lock up the library. We both have fairly extensive libraries on Steam.
So how modern is this going to be?
As modern or as retro as you want. Steam's got it all, baby.
I think I know what I'm playing already. When you put this category on the map, I thought, because I'm not, me, I'm not going crazy. I'm not going to play some modern stuff, but I've got something. I've got a gimmick here. We can give a shot. So that should be interesting. Hey, we just want to, as we close up shop here, want to mention that of course we're available on YouTube at the Amigos Amigos Retro Gaming channel. If you want to come check us out, we do a lot of crazy stuff on there. We're also available in podcast form.
Yes.
For all your podcasting wants and desires.
If you look at us and you're like, oh God, I can't take that, you can just listen to us.
We get that a lot. Don't worry about that. We also want to mention that in just a few, September, in 2 months, effectively,
yes.
It will be the Thanks for Giving ARG Marathon. Brent is engineering. He's like a devious scientist. He's calculating and working diligently to ensure about 10 hours of gaming goodness.
I think that's what we're going to shoot for.
So that should be a lot of fun. I think the boat's going to join us for some of that. So we should have a good time playing requests from our various buddies and all the people on Patreon and stuff. And I guess you're getting ready to issue some sort of decree on how that's going to work.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get those out this week. Actually, I'm hoping that we can compile a list and put those out to our Patreons this week.
Great.
It might just go up as a Patreon post. So keep that in mind. Please check that. But we're going to try to reach out individually, but it might just go up as a massive post to everyone, or locked behind the Patreon wall.
We'll say something on the show before we kick it off. Brent, what's going on in the chat room?
We've got a pretty good crowd as we seem to put together. We got Angus, Pixels, Picard, Graham W. Vecchi. Thank you, Graham. You are rock solid every week of getting us a review in, and we really, really appreciate it.
He badmouthed HOBO, though.
That's okay. I mean, not everyone's going to love Hob. That's okay. From the planet Obo.
You're an idiot.
Curtis Boyle made an appearance. Free lunch.
You love reading little text, don't you?
Mohawk Mob came by. Man, there was so much chat. There's so much scrolling up. Fair Fight, welcome.
Fair Fight. I love it.
If I missed your name, I'm sorry. There's so much chatter to this week.
And he can't hardly. He has trouble reading little stuff.
I have trouble just reading. So.
Hey, we want to thank
Picard.
We want to thank our good buddy, the Duncan Styles. Is Duncan there today? For providing our crazy Tron-like intros and background stuff. We want to thank our good buddy, the Bark Bit, who does our closing theme.
Yes.
Thank you, Bark Bit. Beautiful. Well done, sir. So next week, we will go down the modern path of Steam.
Yes.
I don't know how that's going to go.
But I think it's going to go awesome. I think there's some good history there, too.
Well, Steam's been around for a good number of years now.
Oh, absolutely.
And so they do have quite a classic lineup on there, so it should be a lot of fun. So, join us next week, same bat time, same bat channel. You got anything else you want to add?
Everybody out there, have a good week.
Right on. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, HOBO! We're back.
Hey guys.
I gotta go restart the chat. I can't see the chat thing went off.
Yeah, you need to find a way to make that bigger too.
Listen,
you look over there like it looks really weird, Aaron.
I'm a weird looking guy.
No. When you look over there, if you're looking at the video screen, it just looks like you're looking off to nowhere.
I am. I was when this thing shut off.
You need to. We need to come up with a better solution for you to be able to see chat.
You can just tell me what's going on in chat.
Well, normally I do.
Yeah.
A lot of chatter today, though.
I mean, I could actually put the chat up on the air if I want to. Now think about it.
Well, then why don't you do that?
I don't know.
That way you don't just go like.
It never occurred to me, to be completely honest with you. I never thought about it. So I'm going to try that right now, actually, while you're chatting. Look, there's the chat right there.
Well, stop.
Look, here comes me. I'm coming in. It's not going to hurt nothing. Whoops, wrong. Whoops, what have I done? Oh, good God, no. Here we go. Here we go.
Pop out chat.
Pop out chat.
Not where I was going with it.
And then, look at that.
So why don't we just do that every time?
Well, I mean, you're taking all the fun out of me looking over there.
Well, yeah, because it's really distracting, especially when I'm sitting here talking to you.
Well,
and you just go.
You know, part of it is I don't want to
interact with me in any way.
Oh no, I didn't see that, Graham. It was released at a bunch of crazy names. The Sheen Home Arcadia.
It was the clones of this thing. The clones, children. Boy.
Hey,
hundreds, well, a dozen.
Graham, have you played that console that Huck just put a video out? The Wizard. Did you watch Huck's video on that?
I did not. How recent's the video?
It's like is it the Dick Smith Wizard or it's something Dick something? It's a crazy little device. I really enjoyed Graham's video. I highly recommend it.
Pixels, yeah, I agree. And I don't have anything.
20 years. You're kidding
I don't have
me.
anything from the very, I think 2001 was its launch. I don't have anything from the very, very beginning outside of maybe like Half-Life. But, yeah, there's some, and Steam has a lot of classic titles, you know, outside of it's just the Steam library itself. I'm excited about this. I think it'll be fun. I think the only thing that might suck is
Dick Smith. That's it. Yeah.
I like how that was censored.
Yeah, Dick Smith got censored. No, Huck has an outstanding. He's got 2 videos on it. One where he hooks up a cassette deck to this thing, and the cassette deck literally attaches itself to the console. It's also got paddles like this thing.
Oh,
but here's the best bit. Get this. So when you are loading up something on tape, it's got like a second channel of, like, for example, there's a demo at the beginning where it shows, and it talks.
I did look into that. Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey,
cool.
Graham, who is Dick Smith? Is he just a guy? Is that a guy that owns like a series of stores? Is that right? I know you don't know. I know you don't know. Yeah, it's good. I recommend it. I mentioned it on Amigos this week too. It was really good. Yeah, Picard, Frogger is like HOBO, except Frogger's a lot easier. So there you go. I thought HOBO was actually That was a diamond in the rough. You sort of,
I thought HOBO was fun.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. So
it's not often you get to play a HOBO with superpowers.
Listen, don't break the bank this week on this Steam thing.
No. You can't buy any new game. No, you have to go on what is in your current Steam library.
You didn't mention that.
Chat, tell him I mentioned that.
No.
Like several times.
I've already got this in my library, so that's okay. But I'm just saying. I've got to think I can set you up. So, well, that was fun.
Yeah,
Emerson.
I rather enjoyed it. This was super easy to emulate.
Yeah.
It wasn't go to a website and play it easy, but it was right on the cusp.
Listen, you've got to make us some new wheel pieces next week. I mean, we literally have none. There are no more. You have hit rock bottom.
I love it.
You need to put the Dick Smith Wizard on there too. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Necronom. Throw me under the bus, eh? There you go. Yeah, okay. Electronic stores. There you go. I hope they're still around in web in a web version. The Dick Smith stores.
Wow. I wonder how much they had to pay for their domain name. Because that has to point to a porn star.
Okay, fine, everybody. Jeez, I didn't listen just this one time.
What? Are you kidding me?
I'm getting caught out. I'm getting taken to school. I think next week, this might be interesting. I may, since we don't have a system to look at, I may have a historical look at Steam.
Well, yeah,
that might be kind of fun.
The point.
That might be kind of.
Also, I mean, and you can go all the way up to modern day, where now they're the Epic stores come in and really trounced on Steam's turf.
I actually downloaded the Epic store to get all this free Lego games of the day that came out.
Sure.
The kid likes the Lego.
And also, Steam's not just software. They have hardware divisions. They released the box that links.
Here's an idea. Here's a thought.
No, I'm not doing it.
Why don't you do that segment next week?
All right, fine, I will.
That'll be different for you. You could come in and do the history segment,
yes.
And I'll just come in like you, just go rolling in with a game. That'll be fun for me.
Good deal.
Bam.
See,
history segment.
If we announce this stuff a week in advance and not the day before, like, hey, Brent, why don't you do the history segment on the Thompson MO5? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have stuff together for that. You can do it.
Of course, I've never done that. I've never ever said, like, Brent, I need a history segment today. Get on it. That's never happened. We don't ever speak outside of this show anyway.
The week of silence where I don't have to put up with you is the best week.
So, wow, this will be great. I don't have to actually do a history segment this week. It'll be different. Let's see if you... Now, hopefully you won't screw it up, because mine are always gold. Like this week, where I had nothing. It's like, well, this is a console, and what a console this is! Let me tell you.
You didn't go into much.
Well, it's not a whole lot of depth here.
No.
This is another one of those things where there's a certain amount of information, and everyone's got it. It's just, I was going crazy trying to find stuff. So, all right, then I guess we're gonna call it a day. Then, all right, I'm gonna drain the pool today. That's what I get to do. And
I don't know what that's a euphemism for, but I'm not.
No, it means draining the actual pool. That's what I'm going to be doing, and trying to start.
Hey, Duncan.
Some of this Amiga.
Okay. Before we wrap up shop.
Yeah.
Chat, you can kind of help us with this. We have had requests to put up
or shut up
the stream version of our show that has the beginning talkie segments and the ending talkie segments, along with the show in the middle. And since we're producing them on the fly now, we can put the show up. And what we thought was put a link that you click that takes you right to the beginning of the show if you don't want to sit through all the nonsense. What is your all's opinion on that? Because we have some people that watch mainly for the nonsense and feel cheated when they don't get to watch the nonsense because they can't watch it live. So if anyone has an opinion on that, please share it, because my wife's getting ready to kill me.
I can't for the life of me think of why anybody wanted to listen to our dialogue. I don't know what fascinating nuggets of gold that are coming out of. I don't know. Whatever, though. I'm easy. It doesn't matter to me, man.
Well, Pixel says now that we're producing live,
Yeah.
that he thinks we could put the whole stream up. Hey, Kate Pixels, if we were to put the whole stream up, would we just leave it unlisted until Wednesday and then make the stream go live?
Huh?
Yeah. So people that
You mean make it go away?
no. I'm saying you have the stream that we just did.
Yeah.
Right. You just don't list it. You don't privatize it. You just don't list it until Wednesday, and then you list it as normal.
Why Wednesday?
Because that's when we normally put up stuff.
Yeah, but I usually put up the actual edited show on Wednesday.
No, but that's the whole point.
It's wacky.
Yeah, I agree with that, Angus.
Ooh, extra. Extra, extra. Remember that show? No?
Yes, I do. ARG extra. So, let's try that this week, Aaron. Oh, the void. Okay, let's.
10 minutes.
We'll leave the stream up just as unlisted. And then I forget how does John do it?
Boat has two things.
See,
We do multiple shows at Boat, so he lists both. He had those shows up as one big live event, and then he also edits them down for the shows.
okay, so this is because the podcast can't have all the banter. I think that's something. I think that's something we have to draw the line somewhere. So. Yeah, and also this would keep the live chat archived as well.
So explain to me what you want.
Okay, this is what's going to happen. When we stop the stream, we're going to mark it as unlisted. That way, people with links can still go and watch the show. And then on Wednesday, Tuesday at 10, whatever, or the normal listing time, you just take it from unlisted to listed. Oh, but is that actually going to make it pop to the start of the thing, or is that going to push it back into the...
Also, I released the edited show that on.
No, the edited show's gone. We're not gonna We're not gonna.
But what if people
both
don't
shows
want
up.
the banter?
Then all we have to do is put a timestamp link that you click, and it takes you right to the show.
I don't like that idea. For archival purposes, I don't know if this even matters. It's just we're still like this is not like
Aaron.
This is not
Here's the
some
thing.
sort of historically important.
Everyone says that they like the banter, they like the chat, they like all this stuff. So you can't. I understand what you're saying, and I agree to a large extent. But
yeah, Dunk.
people like the extra crap, and sometimes they can't get here to get the extra crap, and they want to be able to watch the extra crap.
What's wrong with these people?
I don't know.
I can't understand that. I don't understand. Well, we'll
work it out, guys.
We'll work it out.
I'll convince them. All right, we be out, yo.
See you later, dudes.
What was that?
That's my surfing guy thing. Whoop, whoop. Too cool.
Have you ever touched a surfboard?
Yeah, I touched one once.
Where was it hanging?
It was one of those things where you get in front of it, take a picture, you know, at the beach. Yeah, it makes it look like you're surfing.
Just stop the stream.
Yes, sir. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.